Guys, what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to talk about different handle materials. As you can see, I've got a bunch set out here on the counter. They're all great. There's no wrong or right choice, but I'm going to point out to you the things I like about each type of handle material you've got here. And then at the end, when we do the final thoughts, I will tell you what my favorites are. So let's look at this from above. Well, guys, like I said, this is not a knife-specific video. I said it in the intro. We're going to talk about different handle materials and some of my favorites. I don't have necessarily a specific favorite. I like a lot of different materials. Some of them stand out for certain reasons. Some of them don't. But what we're going to talk about is different types. So we're going to start off with some of the most expensive and rarefied one, which is carbon fiber. So a lot of us know carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is one of those space-age materials. It's extremely strong, extremely light, very resilient, very rigid. This stuff holds up. It has the same, I believe, the same tensile strength or stronger than steel. So there's a lot of things going for it. There are a lot of things to be said for carbon fiber. It is a very good material, and like I said, it reduces the weight and adds a good bit of structural rigidity that you can't get in some other materials. Now, there's some downsides to everything. Downsides on carbon fiber is it's expensive. And a lot of times, unless you are using a specific pattern on it, it can get slick and slippery. It is very good in like an oily environment and things like that because it's completely impregnable. So it has some pluses and minuses, but one of the biggest things about it is the way it looks. It is really attractive if done in a specific fashion, in certain fashions and patterns. It looks really good. It's not over the top and ostentatious. I will say you're not going to see any Timascus here. I'm not a fan of Timascus as handle material. I find it to be ostentatious, over the top. A little pop of it is good, but I think that we have gone too far with how much we use Timascus. Carbon fiber can be like that, but if it's done in a fashion like this, where it just looks really good and it has all those facets, it catches the eye really well. It's not over the top in this, but it just adds a good bit of attractiveness. So there you go. There's your first one, carbon fiber. Now, I'm not getting into big details on any of these materials. So carbon fiber, that leads us to our next handle material, which is G10. And G10, like carbon fiber, is a composite. So this is G10 is layers of fiberglass that are sealed together with epoxy. And so you get a lot of the benefits that you get from the carbon fiber, but you don't have a lot of the additional cost of it being kind of a rarefied material. G10 is really good in handles. It is impregnable. It is weatherproof. If it's done with a checkered pattern like this, you have relatively good grip. It can be slippery. But you're looking at something that is really solid, really structurally sound, and is impact resistant, weather resistant, temperature resistant. G10 has been used for years in a lot of different applications. They use it for circuit boards and stuff like that. And it's really easy to work with. It's easy to mill. It acts like a plastic, but it's stronger. So it has a lot of things going for it that you don't get in some of your natural materials like wood, which you won't see here because I don't really like wood as a handle material except just for attractiveness. But like I said, really easy to use, easy to work with. It's no different than any other plastic, the way you cut it, the way you mill it and things like that, except it is just fiberglass layers, and you get a really good look. It can be attractive if it's done right. You can do this in multiple colors. You really have a hard time doing carbon fiber in different colors. You can do this in a long, in a wide variety of colors. There's a long list of colors you can do in G10. So G10 is a pretty versatile material for a lot of things, not just knife handles. They actually make some knives out of G10 as just like a metal proof, completely weather-resistant self-defense tool for piercing. So really good material. So there's G10. Let's talk about the next one, which is micarta. And micarta is another composite. Just like G10, it is layers of either canvas or linen or cotton. You can get away with, they've made it out of denim and things like that. And it's pressed together with an epoxy resin that holds it in place. And this is a very old material. This was Westinghouse used it to make resistors and things like that. But the nice thing about this is, and you guys, I'm going to wet my thumb. This actually, as opposed to those other ones, when it gets wet, those fibers actually expand and you don't lose grippiness. On those other ones, the texture, the checkering is what gave you some grippy, tactile feel. On these, if your hands are a little damp, you actually stick to it more because these natural fibers, even though they are impregnated with resin, still will absorb a little bit of moisture and expand. This is really good in a wet weather environment. And I find it to be outside of carbon fiber. Actually, you know what? I find this more attractive than carbon fiber. I find good micarta to be more attractive than a lot of the other composites and handle materials because it picks up a patina. If your hands are oily, it's going to get dirty and you'll see your own pattern of wear on the micarta that you won't see on other materials. And it's easy to clean. So if you decide you don't like the way it looks and it gets real dirty, you just wipe it off and it is easy to clean up. So great material, just like G10, super resilient and strong. One of my favorite handle materials right there is really well done micarta. I love green micarta. This is kind of an orange or brown micarta. You can do it in a wide variety of colors. Like I said, you can do it in denim. You can do patchwork, multicolored, materials. You could even do like a bath towel or something like that and layer that as a micarta. So it's just simply a natural fiber, like linen or something like that is then impregnated with resin and pressed. So there's micarta, the last of the composites we're going to talk about. The next type of material is kind of like a composite, but it's fiberglass reinforced nylon, which basically that's what this Crivery that they use at Cold Steel is. It is this is a polymer, but this is just nylon that has been reinforced with fiberglass. Now it is really easy to use. The nice thing about this is it can be injection molded as opposed to the composites, which have to be laid out in plates and then shaped. So it's fairly strong, fairly resilient, but the fact is you still have, it's much less resilient than than any of the other ones we saw earlier. This one even still has liners in it, and I can still crush that down a little bit. So FRN is not as resilient, but the nice thing, it's light. And like I said, the processing is you can injection mold this and you don't have to actually grind or cut this and do some stuff. So it's a lot easier to use this material. It winds up being relatively light. It's really impact resistant. The fiberglass prevents cracking, and it's just fiberglass all through that. So it makes it a lot more wear resistant. It's not going to cut as easily, wear out as easily as regular plastic. And like I said, it's so easy to use that a lot of companies do use this because an injection molding press, you wind up with a completed handle in one just real quick pressing. So it's a really good material. I have some problems with it. It doesn't feel as quality in hand, and sometimes in the molding, not on this knife necessarily, but a lot of times in the molding, you wind up with areas you can feel the areas where the mold was made, and it doesn't get cleaned up as easily. Or cleaned up as well. So sometimes they feel a little cheaper, but it's a good all-around handle material. And like I said, again, completely impervious to weather, water, oil, any of those things. So it's a really good choice. There is your FRN. So the last couple are metal. So let's switch over and look at those. And they're titanium, which titanium is a really good choice for knives because it's easy to work with. It's easy to mill. You can anodize it. You don't have to use any coatings to color it to a lot of the colors you want. It is very good because it does not rust. It doesn't, it's not like it's going to oxidize too much. And when it does oxidize, this coating, not a coating, this color that you see is what the oxide looks like at different voltages. So this one I did in green and bronze. So you can do a lot with this. It's relatively light compared to steel, but it has very similar strength. It has the ability to maintain that spring. It has a bit of a memory, so it doesn't have as much of the lack of spring that you get in steel. So you can, tension that over and it's going to hold that tension. It is, like I said, a lot lighter than steel, but really good as far as strength. There are some downsides to titanium. Titanium is very susceptible to thermal expansion. It has a very high thermal expansion chart. If you look at the chart, you can see how much titanium expands due to temperature or contracts due to temperature, a lot more than steel. So you can run into some issues. If it's cold, your knife was made in a warm climate, it might not be as smooth as it was when you first purchased it. But all in all, titanium is a great, great material. And one of the big pulls is you can anodize it. Like that color that you're seeing, that blue, is just an oxide layer that was formed with electricity. So great, great material, but not necessarily the best. I absolutely would take micarta over titanium if given an option. Let's look at the last one, which is aluminum. So I know that you can get steel liner locks and frame locks out there. I mean, steel frame locks out there. But I do like aluminum for the fact that this knife is a full-size EDC and is incredibly light. And that's because aluminum is a very, very light material. It does really well in handles. And one of the great things about aluminum, I swear my neighbor does that on purpose. One of the great things about aluminum is the hard coat. Now, I've removed the hard coat ano from this, but the hard coat ano that comes on this, let me grab a knife that has it. You can put a hard coat ano on aluminum, which is what's on this, which is very, very, the black you see on here, not the red, but the black you see on here is hard coat ano. What that is that's a layer of aluminum oxide that they form on it electrically and then dye it to whatever color they want. And you can get very striking finishes on this. But I've had this knife since 2015, and you can see there's very little wear on the aluminum oxide layer that's that hard coat ano that's on this. It's really, really resilient because it's harder than a lot of other materials. Aluminum oxide is what we make sharpening stones out of a lot of times. And so it makes a really good coating. There are some downsides to titanium and aluminum. Like I said in the titanium one, aluminum is very soft. Aluminum is really soft, and you can see it's really easy to ding up and batter around, even more than titanium, which is still a very soft metal. It wears easily. If you're rubbing against something, the aluminum will wear. I put a ceramic coating on this knife that kind of protects it a little bit. But definitely when you drop a knife that has aluminum scales, you get a lot more damage than you do on some other types of materials, even including titanium. So it's kind of one of those hit or miss. I do like aluminum for the fact that it's really light, but then again, aluminum is really easy to scuff up and screw up. Now, if it's just a working knife, that's not a big deal. But if it's a knife that you really, really like and you want to keep it pristine, aluminum handles might not be the way to go. So those are just some of my favorite knife handles. I just thought it would be fun to look at knife handles completely, like what benefits I see from different handle materials. So that being said, guys, let's turn this around, do some final thoughts. I'll send you out about your day. There you go, guys. My two favorites out of all of those are micarta, because the way it feels in hand, it just has a completely different feel than any other materials. It's not as cold as some of the others, like in a cold weather environment. But the fact is, it has a very distinct feel in hand. It doesn't feel slippery. And it looks really good. And the other one is titanium, just because I can throw this in an ano bath and take this right back to the brilliant blue that I had it anytime I want if I choose to. So very, very versatile, both those materials. All of them are great in their own ways. So guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change that content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. But if you do hit the bell icon, make sure you set it to all and make sure you got notifications turned on your device. The likes are the most important thing you can do for any channel. It shows YouTube that you guys have found value in the content and they recommend it more to other people that may not normally see it. So closer you get to a 1-to-1 like to view ratio, the better it is. Other ways you can do it if you want to do it financially, I have got a whole bunch of affiliate links down below on Amazon.com that it's basically each one of those is like a portal into my affiliate store. You don't have to purchase those items. Just click on it as a way into my Amazon affiliate store. And if you're buying anything, it doesn't matter if you're buying glue or shoe polish. It does not matter. It's going to support the channel. Coffee Brand Coffee has a 5% discount. I would appreciate if you use my Coffee Brand Coffee link. Jeremy over at Quartering, who owns Coffee Brand Coffee, has been banned on Twitter because of something silly that really shouldn't have gotten him banned, and he is unable to publicize his content or his business, and he's definitely losing money. So do me a favor, just go check out Coffee Brand Coffee if you like coffee. Use my coupon code CrazySharp to save 5% at checkout. If you want to become a member at the channel here, there's a link down below. It's tier-based. There's 3 tiers. Everyone has access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into the giveaways I do on a Gilded server. And the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series that's here on YouTube behind a paywall. I do have a merchandise store, Ember Shirt Co. You can save 10% by using my coupon code CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp at Ember Shirt Co. Guys, that's it on this one. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it easier to moderate the channel. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. I love you all. And I'll see you in the next video.